tongue, teeth, and the lips. Beautiful lips. I haven't done this in a while. Haven't done a solo pod in a long time. Oh. Now, we are recording on all platforms. Hello, everyone. How's it fucking going? It's been a while. I've been taking over the interviewing scene on the podcast lately. In all seriousness, before we start, thank you all for the support on the guest episodes that started back with Max Bryan. Yeah, Max Bryan was the first one we did. And then obviously followed on with like Ollie. Joss came on. We've had a few fighters on. Yeah, man, the support's been unreal. So thank you very much for that. And the guest episodes will continue. However, in full transparency, I've missed my solo pods. And I feel when I do the interviews, I can only talk so much. And, I started this podcast so I could talk because, people need to hear me because I've incredibly important things to say. So, I guess the routine is going to be a few guest pods. Obviously, when I have guests to come on, particularly, I go back to Dublin in December for the month. And there's a number of guys I'd like to do a pod with when I get home. So there will be more guests. Oh, hold on. I'm just going to get myself a little more comfortable because it's just us. So the reason I'm doing a pod today is because I had a pretty eventful weekend last weekend. And in terms of my goals and ambitions for visually impaired as a production company, it was quite a monumental weekend, I guess. So, actually, before we do that, like and subscribe. Because I don't get to do it in the guest pods. Man, when I do the guest podcast, I have to worry about, obviously trying to be a good host, but also, making sure all the camera angles are working, making sure the lighting is okay. I'll make sure we're recording, all the audio sounds good, so I don't get to just focus on being a host, So I forget to say like and subscribe and all that shit. Subscribe to the channel. Show me a channel with 140 subscribers with better production and a more fabulous host. I'm a vapor now. No more tobacco. So, yeah. Those of you who have watched some of the guest episodes will remember an episode with Jay Cuccinello, the mellow fellow Cuccinello. Jay was an MMA fighter. He was in the Ultimate Fighter and has since opened a gym in Spain. And Jay asked me if I would mind coming down and documenting a number of his fighters as they fought. One of the lads was pro, one of the lads was amateur. And they just wanted to document the process. And what will result is a 3-episode series called The Fighter's Journey, where we'll document the weight cuts, the weigh-ins, fight day, the build up to the fight itself, and the aftermath. And I had, a number of experiences I never thought I'd have all on the same day. I got to corner a fight. Well, be in the corner for a fight, 2 fights. And just to be in and amongst, we'll get into that. But essentially, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what's going to come up in the doc. And, just talk about some of the shit that I kind of saw. Because obviously as an MMA fan, I know a lot about this process, but I've never actually witnessed one. So the lads picked me up on Friday. Hold on, we're gonna get cozy. Get out my records. New 1975 album is dropping Saturday, I think. Also, it's my birthday tomorrow, so say happy birthday to me on the PearPod page. Okay. So the lads picked me up on a Friday morning, and Iman, who was he was the pro fighter. He had a lot of weight in particular to lose. I think he had 15 pounds or something to cut. And for those, essentially what a weight in MMA, it's quite common for people to cut weight the day of a weigh-in. You weigh in the day before the fight. It's quite common to cut weight in order to give yourself an advantage over your opponent, because if you weigh in, at a lower weight and then rehydrate and eat that night, you'll come back and you'll be, 10 pounds heavier and be much bigger than your opponent. The downside of that is the effects that weight cutting can have on, your performance, on your body and your health in general. And Jesus, man, we get in there, we go to Club Padel, which is a gym close to us, and your man gets in the sauna, man, and you start to see. Now I'm just editing the episode right now, the weight cut episode. So I'm so happy with it, because it's quite like, it's fucking intense, man. Do you know what I mean? The guy is fucking, he's essentially dying, which is what he's trying to do. He's dehydrating himself. He'd been dehydrating himself all night doing hot baths. And then he comes down to the sauna, and like, he needs to do an hour in there, and at that stage, you feel like you've nothing left, to lose. You feel like your kidneys are cooking. And like, it feels like you're dying. Cannot get comfy. Usually I just have to say, so, who would your top 3 dinner guests be? And then I shut up for an hour. Okay. So he gets in there for the first run, right? And he's supposed to do 15 minutes. And after 5 minutes, he's like, I need to get out. Or I'm coming out. It's been, 20 minutes. And Jay is like, man, we're only getting started here. He's not really breaking a sweat. They're covering him in Vapo Rub. And, it's fucking tough, man, because the guy, his cheeks are all pulled in. He looks like gaunt. He looks really weak. He's like, eyes are closed. He looks a bit like woozy and stuff. And it's just, it brought my respect for MMA fighters to a completely different level. Just especially, man, this guy's pro in theory, right? But this guy's not making, really any money for this. He's doing this for the passion of it, and he's cutting this weight so he can go and fight this guy for no money, just because he loves the sport that much. So I don't know of any other sports that require this level of commitment, and then also is like a physical fight at the end of it, So he continues to cut the weight, and then we go out and we weigh him for the first time. And I think he was, I think he had like 1.5 kilos still to go. And like, I know on the way out, Jay was hoping that he was going to be on the way out to the scales. On the way out to the scales, I know Jay was hoping for him to only have 0.5 kilo left or something. So to have to cut another 1.5 kilos on top of, him being so drawn out already. So we go back in. Iman, who is the guy who was cutting the majority of the weight, he puts like his hoodie on, gets back in there. He's lying on the ground. His like eyes are closed. It's it's not a nice experience. There's people from the gym coming in and out having a look, and they're like, from the outside it probably looks fucking insane, But he goes in his jumper then, man. So he goes in there for another 10. In fairness to him, like another 10, 15 minutes he's in there. He comes out, he's covered in sweat. They're pouring water on his back. He can't drink anything. He can't drink any water. He's able to wet his mouth. That's it. And then they go out and they weigh him again. This is 20 minutes later, hoping it's there, and there's still, I think there was still a kilo still to go. So obviously Iman's starting to get frustrated. Also, we're working against a ticking clock here. We've got to be down in Algeciras at 1 o'clock. Might be 11 at this point, and it's an hour to get down there. And you have to weigh in at 1. You have to be there, or else you miss the weigh-ins, you don't fight. And so what ends up happening is they get him in there for as long as they can, and they put him on, they put him on the scales again, and like he's still not there, and they're like, we're just gonna have to bundle you up in all your clothes and drive you down and hope you lose some more in the car. And so we start to drive down, man. It's just, he's fucking like waving in and out a little bit, and we get there, man. This is fucking insane. We get to the hotel, right? Walk in. It's just a fucking stand there. It looks like the Beacon. You go in, not full of brazzers, and you go to the Beacon. You go to the hotel, and on the first floor there's little rooms set up where these lads are doing the weigh-ins. It's just a fucking standard convention room, like. And a man goes in, he weighs in, and he's fuck man, I think he's like 8. He might have been still 0.8 kilos over or something, which is like 2 pounds. And he might have half an hour. I think we had half an hour left, so we had to go downstairs in all his gear and fucking like essentially keep trying to sweat the weight out. So he's like doing pads. He's like he's getting in clinches with different lads and just trying to get a sweat on. And like, you got to get at this point, like the chap is literally dying. Like you can see a hollow in his eyes, you can see it in his cheeks. I felt so bad for him, like as like a fucking an emotional wreck myself. I'm like, just what are you doing to yourself, man? There's more to life than this. It just blew me away how much this guy, what this guy will do just for the love of his sport. Like, yeah. So the Iman's fighting people in the reception area, hoping to get this weight off. And anyway, he goes back in with half an hour gone, goes back in to weigh in, and has to get all his kit off, like down to his fucking birthday suit, and he gets on, and it doesn't quite make it, and he gets off, and then the scales are like going up and down, and then thank God, he hits it. And he's able to rehydrate. But after that process, man, it was only about 1 o'clock. I was exhausted from the intensity of just trying to get that weight off. So now, we're weighed in and all that. And, so we go in, like, what I didn't realize about fight week, man, it's just a lot of waiting around, man. So you weigh in, and then you don't have the official weigh-ins or ceremonial weigh-ins, which was at 5 o'clock in like a mall in front of like fans. And when we get to that, like everyone, it's a bit mad. Everyone, we get to the weigh-ins, they all know each other. All the amateur side know each other. All the pros kind of know each other because it's a local circuit, like, essentially. And it's a few fucking big boys, especially towards the headliners. These two lads, like, it was pretty cordial the whole way through, and then these two lads tried to fucking scrap. And actually, that fight ended in a filthy knockout. Then the next day, man got sparked. But yeah, the lads weigh in. Everyone makes weight. They go back, they start rehydrating, start eating dinner. And then I come back the next day. So the next day I have to be down for about 3. The fight's not till the evening. So I drive down, and I find out that the fight's actually taking place inside like a coliseum or a bull ring, which is just, we got to the arena, man. It's fucking beautiful. It's like really old, like a proper like coliseum style, big circle. And then the ring was set up in the middle, and there was like chairs all around, and then people were sitting in the stands behind. And it was fucking, it was quite intense, man. I'd say for me, I was like, geez, I didn't expect it to be this big. But it was mad. And then So what I didn't realize is it's quite like any production or any show like that. It's a lot of stuff's getting done on the night. You know what I mean? It's like anything. It's not going to be super organized until you get to like the tippy top. But these lads are warming up. You know, one of the amateur lads, Gabby, who was the other lad who was fighting for us, because of fucking delays on the card and like the timing for the TV, because obviously this is with DAZN. DAZN were like, look, we're gonna have to cut Gabby's fight, and you're gonna fight last after the main event, and that, like the TV is over. So now Gabby, who's supposed to fight like in 2 fights time, like he's warmed up, ready to go, hands wrapped, is now like you're waiting 10 fights till the last fight, and then you'll fight. So from what Jay was telling me, this is a very common practice, but the waiting around, I cannot describe to you. So you hear, it's fucking crazy. You hear the crowds are obviously screaming for different fights. People are coming back through like, oh. It's okay, do not cry, you fight well. And people are coming back in like, sorry, I don't know if something's flicking in and out there or not. People are coming back like who have been knocked out, who have been, you know, fucking bloodied up and shit. So like you're sitting there watching people come back, having to wait for your turn, and like I was so impressed. I guess it's just it's standard procedure for the lads, but like there was it didn't appear on the surface any nerves or any like apprehension for it. They just want to get in there, which is just, I was like, just so it's just crazy how different the mentalities can be. Like I was like, very honestly, when we first walked out for the first fight, like you're sitting in the back, or you're standing in the back there and they're waiting for your call, and you can see out and you can see the lights. 2 lads come back in past you, my leg, you know, and you have to just let them come past, and then it's like a 3, 2, 1, and then you walk out. Crowd's fucking going nuts. Like the crowd is there's clearly favourites on, like they're favouring the local guys mostly, obviously. So like it's quite, but they're not. They have no problem booing. They're fucking screaming. They want Ron's blood, but they want action, like, and they're obviously all a bit pissed, which they should be. So we walk out, man, and you have to. Iman is fighting first. Obviously, the pro fights first, and he goes out, because Gabby's now been pushed to after the headline, after the main event. Like, so Iman walks out. You can see his fucking kid and his daughter and his wife are there, like, daddy. And then he walks out, and we go around to the corner, and I can just hear it. Man, it's all very, what's the word? I guess just remarkable for me. Like I'm looking up at the lights, the cage, the crowd screaming behind me. Iman's like doing like the fucking Anderson Silva up against the cage on either side, and it was all a bit overwhelming at the time. I was like, geez, I can't believe finally after all this time I get to actually do this. This is what I've been like dying to do. Anyway, fight starts. I'm trying to figure out if I should tell you what goes on in the fights. Is that going to ruin the experience for watching it? Fuck it. You could look up the results technically if you wanted to, so I'm going to talk about it. I'm just going to vaporize. One moment. Okay. Iman goes out and fights. I'm seeing Jay in the corner. Like it's much more strategic. I guess I knew it was going to be strategic, but seeing it from the coach's side, they just thrown out buzzwords, you know, tempo. It's unbelievable. Like Iman, obviously, this fight, Iman wins the fight. It was done the first round. I think it took like 2 minutes. But you go out there, man, and essentially, like, it's much more tactical and much more like a sport when you're in the corner and you're hearing all the coaching points, especially when they're on the ground. And it felt like much more of a chess match on the ground. But then on the feet, man, you're hearing, especially the pros, those kicks to the body land, kicks to the leg. Obviously the shots land, there's like a thud. you can hear the thud, especially in the corner. You can just hear thuds like landing, especially like grounding pounds. You feel everything, man. Obviously, I'd say like the adrenaline for me, you probably could have hit me with the bus, so I'd say the lads were feeling alright. But the adrenaline and all helps. But I'm sure when that ends, like you're like, fuck, you feel every inch of it. And Iman gets the win, which was unbelievable, obviously, because of yesterday. I thought he was going to die in a sauna. So you get to see the whole thing. Like, you become so attached. I did anyway. In 2 days. So these lads as teammates, obviously, and then they fight each other in training to like get themselves there. So the unity and like the brotherhood is remarkable. So I was fucking over the moon. He like hops over the cage, fucking out in the arena and stuff. It's unreal. I have this all this footage as well. And we go back into the corner and back into the back, and that's what it's all about. It's all fucking high fives and hugs, talking about the fight, like everyone's on such a high. And then you got to come back down again because Gabby's got to fight in 4 fights time after the main event. So we all start like, you have to kind of bring it all back down again, and then start preparing for the second fight. So Gabby's got to warm up again. We start hitting pads. It's late at this point. It's like 10:30, getting towards 11 at this point. And the main event ends, which is the 2 big lads, and one of the lads gets fucking knocked out in the first round. Just 2 bigs, just 2 lads slanging and banging like. And then Gabby goes out, and I felt much more nervous for Gabby. He's much more like a quieter, more reserved character. And I'm like, man, in my head, I'm like, do you want to do this? But obviously he does, like he loves it. But it's just, in my mind, it's just such a crazy way to make a living, or want to make a living. Like, he wants to do this for, this is amateur. He's doing this for free. So he just does it for the love of it right now. Anyway, so we go out, and for Gabby's fight, the crowd are well and truly lit at this point. It's dark, it's late, it's cold. And Gabby walks out, and he's one of the only fights I saw, Gabby's fight, which actually went the full 3 rounds. And that fight, man, was fucking crazy. Didn't go Gabby's way, unfortunately, but there was grappling, the striking, man. A lot of big shots landed. I'm feeling them, and like Gabby's come back with, like, you can see like the swelling start to go in his face and stuff, and it's just, man, it's fucking crazy. It's so real versus like, you watch on TV, or even when you're at an event, like, it's all kind of glamorized a little bit, and you have the commentators, but when you're in front of it, you're like, Jesus, and you're feeling all those shots, and it was Jay be like at one point Jay was like, obviously Jay's coaching, he's like, Gabby, get out of there, and I'm from the corner, Gabby, what are you doing? Protect yourself. And so I was like, fuck, son, get a hold of yourself, will you? Screaming, fight, hurt him with your body. So I had to fucking keep myself in check a little bit. But you do, man. They're scrapping. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, so the fight goes to decision. It doesn't go Gabby's way. And and look, in case you don't believe me, Gutch. I'm a Gutch. For audio only listeners, sorry, I know I don't acknowledge you a lot because this is a visual show, but I'm holding up my coach pass. And the title of these episodes is going to be A Fighter's Journey. And from a filmmaking perspective, obviously we go in the back, and Gabby's fucking devastated. He's taken the fight on short notice and hasn't gone his way, so he's, demoralized, and all the things you'd feel after all that work getting there. And Jay has to talk to him, and Jay says some fucking amazing things to him. I have this all on camera as well, but it couldn't perfectly depict a fighter's journey more. One victory, his family's there, he gets to celebrate, he's sold a load of tickets and his friends are there, he gets to celebrate that moment. And then for the other one, for Gabby, he loses the fight as like a promising amateur, feels like he should have won, felt like he didn't perform. His family are there, his mum and all are there, and he has to be like, he's obviously upset. And that just put a damper on the evening, but for me, it rounded off the whole experience even more. I think if I'd seen just 2 easy wins, I would have kind of left. I would have left without feeling this whole other side to the sport, which is dealing with loss. And I think I have the footage to adequately show the highs and lows of the sport now. So I'm really excited for these episodes to come out. I think it's going to be the best stuff I've ever put out, to be honest. I think it might be the best videos I've ever put out. I just finished the weight cutting one I'm working on now, and it's heavy, man. And I know the footage I have coming after this, and I think it's going to be good. And I also got given, Jay gave me, as you know, Jay was on The Ultimate Fighter. Jay gave me official UFC fight glove, but on it is a signature of Stipe Miocic, who was, probably one of, if not the greatest heavyweight champion in UFC history. And it's fucking beautiful, man. Do you know what I mean? It's a piece of memorabilia I'll have forever. His hand size, man, it's insane. And he gave that to me. He was just like, look, thanks for everything. And yeah, I'll keep that forever. That was an unbelievable thing for him to give me. Obviously, it's a huge memory for him. So for him to pass that on to me is very appreciated. So Jay, if you're watching, thank you very much. But yeah, man, I was kind of back and forth though whether I should do this video just because I should just let the documentary speak for itself. But I guess my perspective and my opinions won't really come across in it. It's just I'm very much a fly on the wall. But there's so much in the doc that's great to see. Even like some of the fun as well. Lads have great crack when they're not in the, in around the fight. There's some great lighthearted moments as well. And then just seeing the back, like the area where they warm up in, like it looks like it's all like stone. It's like Coliseum. We're warming up on cement. It's cool, man. There's lots of like dim lighting, so it looks great, very cinematic. So when it's released, obviously I'll put out a little post about it. Follow up on the PearPod and follow me on Visually Impaired. Those all the information will go up on those when they start to come out. But yeah, again, thank you for all the support on all the interviews. There will be lots more interviews coming. I have lots of people I want to get on here, but I just don't want to rush them. I want to make sure it's the right guests. One thing I'm not going to do is get anyone on for the sake of it or do an episode for the sake of it. There was a period where I was just trying to get episodes out because I thought that was the way to do it. But I think from what I've seen view-wise, quality seems to be the way to go versus quantity. So yeah, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for the support. If you wouldn't mind subscribing to the channel, it'd be very, very much appreciated. But I also like the fact we have 140 subscribers and some of our episodes get like 600 views because we're performing outside of what people expect, which I also enjoy. But yeah, give the video a like. Thank you all for watching. Trying to get a live from Villa Lipsit podcast filmed, which is Rob Lipsit. We've had him on before. His new gaff, and do like a chat around his property and like how it came to be and how the fuck to pay for that shit. And so I'm working on that, but if it comes, it comes. Otherwise, we'll have some great episodes back in Dublin as well. Okay, folks. Thank you for watching. And remember, it's all in the hips. Get up my record.